The Cigar Nerds Podcast.
And welcome to Cigar Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Smokin' Joe.
I'm your co-host, former producer, Brad Jackson. I don't even know what I do here anymore. What is my role?
You're here to keep me from talking to myself.
So I just encourage this. Great. I'm the enabler.
I mean, I did one episode where I talked to myself, and that got awkward. You start answering yourself after a while, and
I mean, is there a difference between talking and playing with yourself?
Stickiness. So, what are we smoking this week, Brad?
I don't know. I forgot to look. We are smoking the Gloria Cubana TAA 2023.
Yes, it has a Ecuadorian Sumatra Maduro wrapper with Habano and Honduran binders and Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers.
Definitely tastes Dominican. And it's got the spice from that, Ecuadorian Habano. Not getting a whole lot of sweetness, though.
Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, but it has a Honduran Habano binder. So, yeah, we get a little bit of that spice. I mean, they say it should have, like, sweetness, spice, and coffee, but I'm not getting... And a creamy touch as well. But, yeah, I'm not getting a whole lot of sweetness just yet. But,
Let it rest. I just caught a glimpse of it. I caught it on the retro hell. Yeah. Overall, though, great construction. It's this is a long guy.
Yeah, it's a 7 1/4 by 54 ring gauge. So I guess kind of that Churchill length. And of course it's a TAA cigar, so you got to get it from one of your Tobacconist Association of American stores, or somewhere online that's also a TAA retailer. We picked up these locally at the cigar shop, like we do all our cigars.
Yeah, there's only been a couple that we didn't get from the cigar shop. I guess we got to start smoking Davidoff now. Davidoff.
I'm not fancy enough to smoke Davidoff. I feel like you got to throw a pinky up like you're drinking tea, put on a suit or something.
Do it anyway.
Shit's just too fancy for me.
I've had one Davidoff cigar that was given to me, and
the only one I've smoked, because most of their stuff's a little bit too mild for me, but the only one I've had that I enjoyed was the Late Hour, the Winston Churchill cigar. That was good. That one I liked. But yeah, I haven't smoked a lot of the Davidoffs.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how this La Gloria cigars have been.
I don't think I've ever smoked a.
So I've had the Series R, maybe.
Yeah, I may have had.
I remember back when I was buying sampler packs. There were a couple had a reddish label to it, but I don't remember it. Striking me as, oh wow, this is a great cigar or something.
Yeah, it's
you're buying I forgot what we used to buy. It's like a 50 cigar sampler or something. I got 3 humidors to stock up.
Oh, yeah. It's at this point, it's we're 210 episodes in, not counting just the cigars we smoke in everyday life. That it's have we smoked this one yet or not?
Yeah,
I have to start referring. I made a list, a fucking Google Drive. And I'm all right, let me check before I pick up a cigar to see if this is one we've talked about yet or not.
I almost feel like at some point, we're gonna be limited to boutiques, that or just be AJ's had a hand on everything. Everything tastes like an AJ Fernandez cigar.
We just start over again and be let's see if the cigar has changed in 5 years. We reviewed this way back on episode 1.
The cigar has not changed. The cigar nerds have changed.
We're old. We pass out in the showers now.
Oh boy.
Without alcohol. When I did that with alcohol, it was expected. Now it's just a painful surprise.
That's sudden.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today? I don't even remember.
Well, speaking of needing a rescue, we're going to be talking about the sequel to a surprising Netflix action movie, Extraction, that we, came out a couple of years ago now, I think at this point. But we're talking about Extraction2 because Rake lived, which is we called that back in the day. It was like, the first movie ends, looking like he's going to die, but it's like, you don't see a body, motherfucker ain't dead. That's like rule number one of movies. I'm like, he's going to come back somehow, or they're going to do a prequel, one or the other. It turns out, yes, he didn't die, and we'll get into that in the main segment. But if you've got to escape from a Russian prison, you should call in the Strike Force. StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use your promo code Cigar Nerds for 20% off your order. Get all caffeinated for those long battles ahead. And we'll be right back. And welcome back. It's time to extract something.
Before we get into any spoilers or any real details, I feel like this would make for a really great game. Like, this had all of your typical video game setups.
Boss battles. I mean, it was like a helicopter level.
I mean, you had your, just your weak little ads, that just come at you and, groves. Then you had mini bosses, and you had your helicopter battles, and then you had your main boss battle. And I'm just like, move over, Call of Duty. This would, go back to, the old school siphon filter days.
Oh, yeah, because, in the days before stealth was a game mechanic where it was just like, kill everyone. It's like playing Hitman when you accidentally get caught, and then it's like, well, guess we're not doing the silent assassin rating. Let me equip the belt fed, and we're just going to kill everyone. I mean, if you kill all the witnesses, then still, there can be no witnesses if they're all dead.
I felt like you just tried to blow me up.
Throw some grenades.
That was dangerous. I almost got lightsabered.
At a point you brought up off, it's like, Extraction 1 came out 3 years ago.
Dude, I feel like that was like a year.
I know. I think
where is time gone?
Because it came out during that, the start of the plague when everything was shut down.
You're losing your hair and you're gray.
We didn't have the. I'm not losing my hair, but it is getting gray as fuck though. I've got gray in my beard.
That's wisdom.
But yeah, it came out in that time when we didn't have a whole lot of things to watch because nothing was open, and it was like, oh yeah, this feels like it just occurred, and like, oh no, that was 3 fucking years ago.
It's still occurring.
Yeah, and if you remember from that episode, we were like, there's no way, because spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the first film, it ends with him getting shot in the fucking neck and falling off of a bridge. And we're like, rule of film, there's no body, there's no dead. So we're like, there's no way he died, because this is like...
Well, then, the shot kind of pans,
have
and you see the shadow, a shadowy figure in the distance from what I remember.
Yeah, like at the post-credit, you see like the kid that escaped is like now like, I don't know, on a swim team somewhere, and you see an out-of-focus person watching him in the background. But it's like, I was like, yeah, they can't, this is probably going to be too popular not to get a sequel, and we were correct. They managed to bring him back. Rake lives.
Yeah, and we talked about it on the first, but this go round, I definitely still feel like Chris Hemsworth, did a great job, fucking portraying the character of Rake.
Yeah, I mean, I like him more as like operator dude than I do as like fucking Thor. Like, he is such a good actor because he can do like comedy, and he can do like silly action, and then he can do like fucking serious like leading man shit like this. Like, I mean, he could be the next like, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. He's definitely on deck to be the next like great action star. But then he can kind of switch gears and do something funny as shit. Kind of like whatever. Well, John Cena is really great at doing stuff that's funny as shit. Yeah, him as like a big action star is always a little cheesy. But when he's doing like Peacemaker, that shit is like fucking hysterical.
But I think, there's just always been a little bit of cheese, with like him trying to do the Marine film and stuff like that. Like, that's just a hard sell, just because, that's the era that, I really was into, WWE wrestling and, stuff like that. So.
Hemsworth doesn't have the baggage of being like a known character. Because
but he should have a hammer.
Yeah.
And theoretically be a lady.
Dude looks like a lady.
Yeah.
And this sequel written by the Russo brothers, who's done like some of the best Marvel movies, but directed by Sam Hargrave. If you're not familiar with that name, he's a stunt coordinator and did most of the stunt like planning on all the Marvel films. So this and the Extraction 1 was kind of his directorial debut, and it's kind of like the John Wick films. Like, I love it when a guy who's like an action like stunt dude like becomes a director, because like the action sequences are just so good, and like they put so much effort into like, we got to do these badass sequences.
And the sequences, don't get me wrong, are badass. But I couldn't put it on there with John Wick, because in John Wick, they actually reload and shit. Like, this is a series where...
Dude, they were reloading.
Kinda, sorta.
I mean, most of the gun stuff was pretty... The only thing that... as a gun nerd, like, bad gun handling always... And for the most part, and even the martial arts stuff, like, so we'll get into specifics later on, but, like, a lot of, like, the grappling and fighting scenes, I'm like... All right, this looks pretty legit. I'd like know these moves they're doing, and this is pretty cool. But the only gun thing that I saw that was like, oh, that's bullshit. Well, two really. Him and Nikki, or his kind of partner, they're doing like close quarters indoor shit. They're both running rifles with a red dot and a magnifier, and the magnifier is flipped up the whole fucking time. I think it's gonna be useless, like indoor building clearing. Like, anyone would have that, like, I run a magnifier on my rifle. It's flipped to the side unless I need to shoot long range. So, like, they're fucking clearing buildings with the damn magnifier up. I'm like, you're not going to be able to see shit.
Yeah, no, like...
That, and everyone's rifle had a fucking IR laser device. Not once did anyone ever use night vision. That's what those are used for, is, like, for when you're shooting night vision. Even the scenes where it was dark out, and I'm like, bro, you got that laser on that rifle. Be kind of sweet if you had some night vision. might help you out a little bit. So yeah, the lasers on these rifles were just decorative, because no one was running any kind of night vision.
And that's just an expensive piece of furniture to not utilize.
Yeah, those things are not fucking cheap.
No, I've looked and I'm like,
shit costs as much as the damn rifle does.
Sometimes even more, depending on the rifle that you have.
Oh. So yeah, that was the only two like gun gripes I had. Yeah, they didn't so much as reload as like just grab another gun when they ran out of bullets. Which we kind of mentioned this being could have been a good video game or video. Yeah, it is kind of video game. It's like, all right, we just we pick up loot off the ground, keep fighting.
Yeah. I don't know, like. I'm starting to see a trend though. Like jailhouse brawls. Like what's the competition here? Like, okay, we're coming out with a new action thing. Like, you can almost pinpoint at some point somebody's gonna take on an entire jail.
And I gotta say something that Hargrave does that I enjoy, because I think I texted you like when I first watched it, because I watched it like a couple days before you did, and I was like, this movie is stressful. where it's just like,
yeah, I mean, you're tensed up like pretty much the entire time. Like, there's not really like a lull, in the action.
I mean, it starts off because
like even when you think, okay, things are settled. No.
I mean, it starts off with, where it picks up right where the last movie ended, with him falling off the bridge, but then somebody finds him like washed up on a beach somewhere, and he's in like a coma for however long. So it kind of starts off slow with like him getting out of his coma and then having to pretty much learn how to like walk and shit again. But then like once, they're like, dude, you got fucked up.
I mean, you just got to think back to Kill Bill. That's whatever.
Just move your fucking leg.
Wiggle your big toe.
And she tells him like, because in the first movie, he was kind of like, he had lost a child and was almost just did not care anymore. So it was like, kind of hoping to die in battle. And then he kind of like learned to live a little bit to like save this kid. He needs like purpose. And she tells him that when he comes out of the coma. She's like, you survived for a reason, so you should probably figure out what that reason is. And they're like, you're pretty fucked up. So if you're like, we've bought you a cabin in the woods in like the mountains of Bulgaria or wherever the fuck they were at. Enjoy your retirement. And you see him like just him and they're like, what happened to my chickens? Like, we ate your chickens. What about my dog? We ate your dog too. What? Nah, just kidding. Dog's inside. So then like you see him like go buy chickens and you think he's gonna he's gonna start farming again. Like, no, he's like sitting on the couch drinking beer with his chicken. And just kind of like getting bored with retirement until finally
dude, have you never had family members that had chickens and they just kind of, they're free range.
Become a pet. But then finally, somebody
I'm familiar
shows
with
up
a chicken named Karen because it's got the poofy little hairdo that.
Somebody shows up to offer him a job, and he's like, all right, I'm coming out of retirement. And then we get like an epic training montage of him like, chopping wood and throwing axes and getting back in shape he's like, you got 6 weeks. And he's like, so we get like almost like a cool 80s action movie montage of him like, going full Rocky.
That's the only thing is
in the cabin.
I'm trying to think about the soundtrack. And
that's what this movie's missing is like a badass action movie soundtrack, because there wasn't like any like songs really that I remember.
Yeah, I mean it's there's obviously scores for ambiance and stuff, but there's not like, oh shit, stuff is ramped up. But then again, like maybe that's part of what makes this stressful. Like you don't have music to be like fuck yeah, like.
That's what especially during that training montage, we should have had an epic 80s rock song. Have they learned nothing from Cobra Kai? But yeah, like, so it has like a kind of a slow build up, but then once the mission starts, it's like balls to the walls for the next like 2 fucking hours, however long this damn movie is. So yeah, it gets stressful, but
I think this movie was 2 hours. So about the good next hour and a half.
Yeah. But Austria apparently is where his cabin was. I guess Bulgaria. That's close.
I mean, it was there with Arnold. Why not have some Austrian Death Machine?
Damn right. But I think, like another thing that kind of makes it stressful is long, and he did this in the last movie, but I feel like he like was like, that was cool, so I'm going to do it like way bigger in this movie, is the long action sequences that appear to be a single camera movement. That if there's cuts in that, they do a real good job of hiding it, because it looks like one continuous, like in the first movie, it was the gunfight in the kind of apartment complex where they're like fighting in and out of rooms, and the camera just follows him like the whole time. Where this one, spoiler alert, Hemdale, another Marvel cameo shows up, and he's some kind of like unnamed Mr. Nobody, possibly CIA type guy, and he's like, hey man, I got a mission for you. You're the person who recommended you is your ex-wife. Her sister is apparently married to a Russian mafia guy, or Georgian, so former Russian mafia guy. And
Wait. All this time I thought they were from Georgia.
no, the country Georgia, not the state.
Good grief. I was wondering why nobody had a southern accent and weren't eating peaches.
So this guy is like stuck in prison, and they allow his family to be in prison with him because he's such like a high level, like, fucking mafia guy.
Who would really want that, though? I mean, I guess,
I mean, it's probably good for him, but
and
for
the
like the rest of the
control,
family,
yeah, like
not so good.
I
not
kind
so
of
good.
feel like if you're, like you'd want to keep them from that environment and be like, hey, my family will, take care of my family, like.
So yeah, they turns out that this mafia guy's wife is his sister-in-law. So technically, these are his like nieces and nephews. So he agrees to take on this mission. So yeah, when they go in the prison to rescue him, of course shit goes bad and he has to fight his way out. It's like a 20-minute running battle that the camera never cuts. I mean, they make it look like it's one continuous camera movement through this whole
And I thought it was kind of cool, just because you see the different facets of the prison. You start from the indoor quarters, then you get into, some of the administration. Oh shit, that didn't work out. So now you're out in the yard and everything, like
just drop in the middle of a fucking prison riot.
And I liked it, although it was a little bit odd to, like, I haven't been in prison, so maybe it's a lot more common than the documentaries I've watched. But does literally everybody have a fucking shank? Like, is that just how you like?
Maybe not so much in American prisons, but yeah, if you watch like what was that show, Locked Up Abroad? Yeah, some of those like fucking Eastern European prisons are pretty much like pretty nasty. Like, they just have all the prisoners like outside in the snow, and the guards are like, "Man, they're getting cold out there." He's like, "Well, if they didn't want to like freeze to death, they probably shouldn't have killed people." It's like, don't give a fuck.
I mean, yeah, you would think that would be a good motivator to be like, "Yeah, I'm not going to commit crime here."
Yeah, like he like kind of loses his gun in that battle, and then like fucking goes full Captain America and like rips a shield off one of the guards and starts beating the fuck out of people with a shield.
Yeah, Steve Rogers isn't the only one that gets a shield.
He's like, I learned this from watching Chris Evans. I'm gonna punch motherfuckers with my shield. Oh yeah, like when he gets hit with like the Molotov cocktail and his arm's on fire and he's just like punching a dude with his like flaming arm. I was like, this is like, this is like fucking video game shit. You're like on infinite, you're on like God mode or something, like Infinite Live. And it like, camera does not leave the action until he gets the kids out of the, finally like, shoves them up a coal chute to get picked up by the other team. But yeah, it's a good like 20-minute segment of just, and they'll do like a small break and then it'll go to another like long segment where the camera like appears to not, I mean, there has to be cuts, but the way you can't really tell. I mean, they blend so well, because then after that you get like badass car chase through the woods with dudes in like ATVs with like bombs and shit. I mean, it's the fucking chase level in the damn video game. Like, you made it out of the prison and now you're into the transport, but things are attacking the transport. You gotta fight them off. I mean, like, now that I look back and I'm like, this is just a fucking video game. This is like an old school, like, fucking Resident Evil or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, maybe I've gamed too much. Maybe it's, my parents are right. Maybe it's rotted my brain.
Everything in this life is
it's just a game.
Yeah, and I don't know who like pays for their rescue services, but these motherfuckers got a budget, because they make it out of the prison, they get in this like badass car chase.
Sometimes all it takes is just knowing a guy.
And then their escape plan is like, we got to get to this train depot. We got to train. And it's not just a train. It's like armored
bullet train.
Yeah, it's like the train's like got what looks like just regular like, Connex like storage boxes that would be on a normal train, but they're all like armor plated and like full of fucking guns and shit and like belt feds and everything. It's like, this train is like, like a rolling fucking tank. And then you get to, of course, the helicopter mode, because every action game has to have that one level where hell, even the Ninja Turtles fought a fucking helicopter in one of their games. It's like, when we need a mini boss, get the fucking helicopter.
Can you take down the helicopter with a belt fed?
Yes, you can. But I feel like,
I feel like that's...
Why didn't they just, like, take out the engine with, like, rockets?
I guess rockets are a little bit harder to come by than,
Yeah, it's like, like, we can drop operators onto this train and shoot at you with machine guns, but, we can't just blow up the train, which would have probably been a whole lot easier, because, when he breaks out the fucking belt fed and hell, he even gets, like, a minigun at one point in this in this battle. It was like, there's, like, kind of like the short, restful period at the beginning, and then 45 minutes of action sequence, and then we get a nice little break, gets to know the family and talk to them, and we get introduced to the other bad guys, and then it turns into, what was that movie where they were all trapped in a bit? The Raid. Yeah, so then we get the second half of the movie that's just a long-ass action sequence inside of an apartment building, a high-rise in, like, Vienna or some shit.
They're boxing us in. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I would guess my only gripe is sort of too predictable. Like, stuff was there and everything else, but it was, you could almost call it. And, spoiler alert, make sure before you break somebody out of prison that everybody's on board with the plan. And don't give a kid a cell phone.
Yeah, so once they make it out, turns out, and of course they kill the Russian mafia guy while rescuing his wife and kids. But the son's the little wannabe thug himself, and it's like, where's Daddy? And you're like, he's going to meet us outside. I stabbed him in the throat with a fucking shovel or some shit.
Dude, that was brutal.
Yeah, that, when fucking mafia guy, like, catches him right as they're getting ready to leave. Yeah, that was like a fucking hellacious fight. But of course his brother is even more psycho, and he's on the outside and runs like the it was like Nazi, but something with a G. I forgot what the fucking name of the of their gang.
Nagari. Or
it was some weird name. That was the only thing problem. Like, there's too many guys speaking Georgian in this, and I'm like, I hate it when I have to read subtitles.
So, how do you know they were speaking Georgian?
Because they said, at one point he starts talking to her, and Nick's like, I didn't know you spoke Georgian. Or since when can you speak Georgian? He's
Dude,
like,
Hollywood makes up words all the time.
Sure enough, it could just have been gibberish. Yeah, not only do we have Nick back as his kind of partner / handler who normally sets up these missions, but we've got her brother in this one who, when you first see him, he's like Yaz, who's you think he's just some like, fucking rich playboy dude who's like, he's like, oh, this is my idiot brother. But then when like, because he like dresses in like Versace and is like kind of a skinny, flashy dude. But then once the missions start, homeboy is like operating like a motherfucker. It's like, oh yeah, this guy isn't like the cheesy rich kid that he appeared to be previously. This dude's actually got some fucking skill.
I like nice clothes because growing up, I didn't have nice clothes.
And I like, fucking Rake's making fun of him when he picks him up from the hospital. He's wearing this like fancy like Versace shirt, and he's like, "I'll send you one." So you see him like later when he's like in his cabin, like a package arrives, and it's one of those fucking shirts. And then later on, when Idris Elba shows up to like offer him the mission, he's turned it into like a shirt for his dog. He's like, "Is that dog wearing Versace?" He's like, "Yes, he is." My dog likes nice things. Because he's like, "I'm not going to wear this ugly fucking shirt." So my dog's going to wear this like fucking however $200, however expensive a Versace shirt is.
We don't even know that is real, Joe.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just sewn fabric.
Like when they're in the middle of like the shit, fucking, it's telling me like, "Dude, if we survive this, I'm buying you another, we're getting matching shirts, and you're actually going to wear them this time." And he's like, "I'd rather die." But yeah, in the first movie, it was like, he got fucked up a lot. Where this one, it was almost like playing a video game on God mode. It was like, he got hit a couple times, but
dude, he got pretty fucked up.
But there was some like close fucking calls. Like when they're in the train and like they're lighting it up with like the helicopter machine guns and shit, and like him and Nikki's just like hunkered down. I'm like, oh dude, it's like y'all would so fucking be dead. or when they just fucking minigun the damn whole floor of that office building. It was like, dude, how the hell are y'all not,
Because wooden desks save you from everything, Joe.
Yeah.
We were always taught this wooden desk is invincible. If there's a nuclear bomb, get under your desk. If there's an earthquake, get under your desk. If there's a tornado, get under your desk. Like,
there's an active shooter, get behind the couch, because apparently all couches is bulletproof.
Yeah, dude, all that woven fabric and stuff, it just stops the bullets.
Yeah, Hollywood does not know the difference between cover and concealment. Because they think everything is cover. Bullets can't make it through this wood table.
It can't get me if I can't see it.
Oh. Yeah, when they, of course, like I said, once they escape and Kid figures out that, his father is dead, he jacks Jazz's satellite phone and calls his uncle.
I kind of feel like somebody would have seen that on the call history or, something like.
Did someone like order like pizza in Georgia? Because there's like a fucking phone call here I didn't make.
But then again, like, it's kind of odd. Like, mom really, really gravitates, toward the daughter, but like, not really getting a whole lot of mom's attention from the son. Like, I kind of felt like creating some friction there. Like.
It's like the daughter was young enough to save. Like the kid was like, this kid's probably going to end up being a thug. He's been in prison too long. He's already got institutionalized at like 13 or however old that fucker was.
I remember when I was 13 and knew everything too.
But our director does have a cameo in this movie. When we first get introduced to what the hell was the main bad guy's name? Because it was David and Zorab, I think was the. Yeah, Zorab. He's like at his like he's like, I'm a farmer or whatnot, and like the governor of like this country or state or whatever shows up to tell him like, oh yeah, your brother just got an extra 10 years because he like the CIA is putting pressure on us because he tossed like a DEA agent off a roof, so I can't get him out of prison. And he's like, one of our prize bulls died. We got to go bury it. And he takes him out in the back of the farm and then fucking kills his ass with a pitchfork. Well, the dude digging the grave, that's the director. He's accredited as Gravedigger.
Kind of feel like Dennis Anderson's going to have something to say about that because as far as I'm concerned, that's the only true gravedigger.
Oh. But yeah, thinking out. Yeah, they go to manage to make it out alive and relocate to a safe house in Vienna, but Kid has already ratted him out, and Uncle's coming to get him. But
I kind of feel like if you're in a safe house, like, here's my problem. Why do you go to the biggest, most obvious building as a safe house? Like, somewhere close to the ground, somewhere inconspicuous, somewhere that's not just, lavish and luxury.
I mean, you've got the high ground, but yeah, it's also not a quick bug out if something goes wrong. You think you want to be closer to like ground level where you can get the fuck out of there if the bad guys show up.
That or, hey, homeboy's got a helicopter, but helicopter's only useful if you're exposed. But yeah, let's get in this tall, all glass skyscraper and magically, like, well, I don't know, who knows? Maybe there was an app and it contained malware and the kid opened it and, they were able to track
how does
the
this
location.
kid, like, they said we're going to Vienna. Like, here's the address. I mean, I guess he could have tracked the phone, but yeah, it was just kind of weird that they knew exactly where. It's like, my first time in Vienna, I can tell you exactly how to find me. Just look for the giant fucking building.
It'll be right there next to the sausage factory.
Yeah. Hey, Uncle, after you kill everybody, can we go pick up some sausages before we go home? Oh. That's the same Vienna, right?
Maybe they really like their sausage. I don't know.
Oh. But yeah, I like kind of the inclusion of Nick in this one, where last time she was, kind of more behind the scenes. I mean, she shows up and saves everybody's ass at the end. But this one, like, I mean, it's not a solo mission, like a solo escort mission like the last movie was. Like, Rafe is like actually got, our Rafe actually has like,
No,
a
there's
team
definitely a
of
team.
people.
And a case of the hots.
There's something about a lady who can operate.
Smooth operator.
And his love of grenade launchers in this movie too. I mean, he's got like 4 or 5 different grenade launchers he breaks out throughout the course of the film. Or even that one where like they try to make it out and they get like ambushed in the garage because helicopters full of like Russian dudes and like full body armor with belt feds. Yeah, chunking grenades in the in the fucking the garage and shit. And that one where they have to retreat back to the building and it's like, all right, meet me at the top floor. We'll steal their helicopter. And he gets off like the floor beforehand and like rigs up a damn grenade in the elevator. So dudes are like waiting. They're like, we'll just get there first. And they're like waiting for the elevator open. And when it opens, you see like the door just pulling the pin on a grenade. It's like, oh fuck.
That's why doorways are death traps, Joe. You never stand, open in a doorway.
And I thought it was funny too, because when you see because they're like, his uncle or whatever is trying to warn him, like, dude, let's just cut our fucking losses. Like, if you're really gonna go try to get these people back, like, you're gonna end up getting like all of these men killed. And he's like, I don't care, I cannot let this stand. And you got like when all of the gangsters get out, there's like the one guy who's like fat as shit and has like a big ass machine.
Yeah, dude, that's the tank.
And it's like, we're going to take the stairs. And he's like, they've almost killed like everybody else. And this guy like finally shows up to the party, like out of breath, like, fuck, I had to climb up goddamn 98 floors of steps. And then starts chasing homegirl around like the gym.
That's your mini boss.
Yeah. Fat armored guy with a machine.
It's like, oh shit, this dude's big as hell. Quick, get behind him.
Oh yeah, the rake shows up and is like beats the motherfucker with a weight. I'm gonna hit you in the face. This is like, fucking 45-pound dumbbell.
Move over, shake weight. We have a rake wake. Wait. God, it almost worked. I'm so tired.
Oh yeah, and then like homegirl like getting knocked out on the roof and is like sliding off the glass, and he's got like runs out there like shooting the glass so it finally breaks so he can like fall and grab her and shit. I was like, that is like having to like hang there like one arm like
This is your quick time event where you gotta press the button in a certain amount of time so you don't fall.
And dude's like shoots him in the fucking hand while he's like hanging there, and he's like got her and she finally is like, hurry up, wake up, bitch. And she finally wakes up and he's like, do you trust me? And she's like, should I? And he just like throws her ass through the window.
Like, how do you know the window's gonna break? Like, normally on skyscrapers and stuff, don't they use like
Yeah, I can't remember if it was shot already or not, but yeah, it was like, with my luck, she would just bounced off the window and fall. Oh, shit. Well, that didn't go as planned.
Game over.
You have failed the escort mission.
It's like the worst. Like, every escort mission ever. It's just like, can you help? Can you do any? No, you can't? Okay.
And the dumbass kid actually like runs out and gets picked up by his uncle before they go into like, and he's like in the car with like the other family guy, and he's like, is he really gonna kill my mom? And he's like, if you wanted your mom to live, you shouldn't have called us. Just like put that on the fucking kid. Yeah, dumbass, everyone's dead because of you. Welcome to the Navarro or whatever the hell their gang name was.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to look at that and I didn't.
Oh. But yeah, it's like, and we got a lot more of like Rafe's backstory in this too. I mean, it's like I keep calling Rafe. I'm still thinking of fucking Rafe Hastings from goddamn Jack Car books. Rake, not Rafe. Because we knew he had a child that died, but then we learned more that like his kid apparently had cancer, and he left to go off to war, and kid died while he was gone, and he just kind of just never returned and just couldn't face being there when his kid died, and it's kind of, I guess, learning to live again. He's got other family, even though they're crazy Russian gangster or Georgian gangster family. I'm your Uncle Rake. I killed your papa though, so my bad.
I mean,
your papa was kind of a dick.
Kind of deserved to die.
And I also stomped your sister's doll. They're trying to like sneak out of the prison and be all quiet, and she like drops her little fucking doll and starts making noise, and he just like fucking stomps it and is like, sorry.
Oh no, not Miss Sally Pee-Pee Pants.
I'll get you another doll when we get out of here, kid. But yeah, fucking homeboy, like, they actually, get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. But Zaz gets killed, and Yaz gets killed, and then they all go back to hang out at his cabin, and guy calls on the phone. He's like, I'm sitting here at the airport looking at my plane, but I can't really leave this country, like, as long as you're alive. Like, we need to finish this. And he's like, where are you? And he's like, I'm at this airport next to this church. And he's like, okay, I'm on my way. He's like, are you coming to negotiate? And he's like, there is no negotiation. I'm coming to fucking kill you. And rolls in with that, like, fuck the stealth mission. Rolls in with that multi-barrel chamber, like, giant revolver 40 millimeter grenade launcher, and he's just like, blow up your plane and blow up your cars, blowing up your fucking guard towers. Like, I'm here, motherfucker. Fuck sneaking in and sniping your ass. Like, I'm just going to blow everything up so you can't run away this time.
This time it's personal.
And then the dick has the kid, like, locked up in a suicide vest. Yeah, like, if you want the kid to live, he's like, put down your gun. He's like, you know, the kid was kind of an asshole. He got, like, my buddy killed. Why don't you just go ahead and blow him up, and I'll just kill both of you and save us some time. Collateral damage, motherfucker. But he's a good guy, so he can't just off the kid. Because that kid caused a lot of trouble. She's just been like, fuck the kid. I'm just here to kill you. Like, I'm not here to rescue the kid. Fuck him. He got my buddy killed and my friend shot.
Yeah. Dumbass kid. Shouldn't have been so easy to manipulate. Kids got to be tougher.
And he tries to get him to, like, you know, here, you want to join the gang? Go over there and shoot Uncle Rake in the face. And the kid can't do it. But luckily Homegirl shows up and distracts him long enough to get the kid to grab the remote control to the bomb. And then we get, like, just fucking brutal ass fight scene with him and him and Rake fucking throwing damn whacking each other with, like, dude's like throwing fucking nails at each other and shit. I was waiting for somebody to get crucified in that fucking church, though.
They don't do that too much in movies these days.
I mean, when he grabbed the bucket of nails, I'm like, oh fuck, is somebody about to get crucified?
God, that would have been brutal.
And I like they kind of fight to, like, a fucking standstill. You know, kid gets homeboy's like, Rake is fucked up. He's all fucked up. They're both, like, just laying there. And he, like, looks over at Rake and he's like, I'm never gonna stop. And Rake's like, just leans over, shoots him in the fucking face. And he's like, you're gonna fucking stop.
Why so much dialogue?
But yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna stop. Oh yeah, he will. Fuck you.
Like, this movie could have been over in, like, 10 minutes if people didn't stop and talk.
I know, it's kind of like, you know, some of those sequences in John Wick where, like, there's not a lot of talking. It's just the script is like 2 pages. Like, why did you need a Russo brother to write this? Because there's not much dialogue, and it's just fucking action sequence on top of action sequence.
But I don't know. I mean, this was a great fucking film, though. Great fucking film.
Yeah, if you need a good action movie to get you through the, if you've already seen John Wick 4 and you're like, man, I need some action to get me through the weekend, fucking throw on Extraction 2. Help, do it back to back. You know, double feature, Extraction 1 and 2. Get all jacked up. And then you'll want to go to 511 and buy all the gear because these shows are basically ads for, you know, 511. And Daniel Defense. There's a lot of Daniel Defense rifles. That's one thing, as a gun nerd, one of the greatest things I've found on the internet is the Internet Movie Firearms Database. Where basically, if you're watching a movie, you're like, oh man, that's a badass gun. What is that? It's kind of like IMDb, but instead of for actors, it's for guns. And they'll list, like, every single gun, like, used in a movie. And it's like, I'm like, hey, that looks like this gun. And I look it up, I'm like, I'm right, that is that gun. I was trying to figure out what pistol Rafe was using, and it's a Agency Arms modified Glock 17 with a RMR. Because, like, is that a fucking Shadow Systems? That looks like my damn War Poet. But no, it's a different custom Glock. Oh, but yeah, Homegirl was using a Daniel Defense Mark 18, and he had, like, a Daniel Defense M4 made right here in Georgia, the real Georgia, not the Eastern European Georgia.
Yeah. Like where peaches come from and such.
And ludicrous.
What do you have? Peaches and Ludacris. What more do you need? Move, bitch. I gotta go get my peach.
Speaking of which, have you heard the Little John Frank Sinatra?
I don't think I have.
Well, this is completely off topic, but it's fucking hilarious. You know, that window to the wall to the sweat drops down my balls song.
Yeah.
Someone used AI to find out what it would sound like if Frank Sinatra sung that. And it sounds like an old Frank Sinatra song, but it's like, oh, skeet, skeet. I mean, it's fucking hysterical. I'll play it for you after we're done. But
I feel like that would be there with like some Richard Cheese.
yes,
like,
it very much sounds like a Richard Cheese cover. But yeah, it's like fucking, of all the weird things AI does, yeah, it can make Frank Sinatra sing Little John. Yeah.
So how much time have you spent with the AI while I've been away, Joe?
Too much, apparently.
You're fueling the Terminators.
Yep. I'm trying to teach the AI to be stupid. It's like, I don't want the AI learning how to hunt and kill us, but if I can train it to do dumb shit on the internet, then it'll be too busy doing dumb shit on the internet and not getting anything done. Kind of like we do.
I mean, we're doing a
learn by my example.
I mean, well, you're doing a podcast right now. I'm just kind of kicked back with the cigar, like trying to just derail every thought that you have, but you know, you plan and are methodical, and
then I just make up shit. So the secret is to making it look like you have a plan when you're really just making up shit as you go. That's why I should be a movie director, because I just make up shit as I go. Someone's like, do y'all like have scripts and shit for your podcast or your YouTube videos? I'm like, nah, just have an idea, and then I just start filming shit and see what happens.
that's why it's so random.
Oh,
but you just never know what you're gonna get.
But of course, you know, they kill the bad guy, but they blew up half the city, and you know, really fucked up one nice hotel. So the cops show up, and they all end up they survive, but they go to prison until. Hey,
congratulations, we broke you out of prison. Go to prison.
Which I think they're like better extraction guys. Like they're like, hey, dude, like you like had to like kill a whole bunch of people. Like I just paid a bunch of people off, and they like I didn't even have to break into the prison. They like drove your ass to me and dropped you off. And you get Idris Elba, and he's like, hey man, I told you not to get caught. Because when he's like, hey, here's the mission. You got 6 weeks. Money's already in your account. You know, if you make, obviously after it's over with, for political reasons, I'm not going to be involved. But if you manage to make it back, I'll meet you and give you a kiss or whatever. And then he shows, when he, you think you're like driving him out to the desert to fucking kill him or some shit. But there's Idris Elba, and he's like, I thought I told you not to get caught. And he's just like, shit happens. He's like, well, I can get you out of prison, but you got to be willing to do it one more job for me and the people I work for. And he's like, well, I'm part of a team. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to leave Nikki in prison. And he's like, thought you would say that. And of course, another car pulls up, and she gets out. And he's like, so never actually. He's like, Rake. That's such a fun name to say. And he's like, well, I never got your name. He's like, my name's not important. Kind of like Mr. Nobody from fucking Fast and the Furious. He's like, it's important as who I work for. And he's like, well, who do you work for? He's like, one gnarly motherfucker. And then that's all we get. But they've keyed it up for this going to be
since this is a starting to become a Marvel, thing, it's motherfucking Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh shit! It turns out this is all like in the MCU. It's like fucking. This is Nick Fury. He's got a mission for you. He needs you to kill some Skrulls.
I mean, when somebody says motherfucker, there's not a name that.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, gnarly motherfucker. Goddamn, do they bring Sam in for the next one? Because I mean, the way they ended the first movie, if it wasn't popular and didn't get a sequel, it had like an ending where this is like we're definitely doing a third movie.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on. So, like, where the fuck was the transition from the end of the first film into this film? Did I miss it? Because I'm like, all right, well, all that shit that was alluded to at the end of the first, where did it go? It just... like, who was the shadowy figure?
Well, there wasn't a time frame on that. So does he... is him showing up and seeing the kid that he rescued in the first movie, is that going to happen like at the end of the third movie?
I don't know.
Is he done whatever he has to do for, for this weird shadow agency who, because at one point,
who just happens to call themselves S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming he's going to be fucking CIA or something because...
Sword.
Yeah. Because, he when he shows up with the mission and he's like, your ex-wife, sent me to do this. At one point when he's, talking to his sister-in-law, he's like, yeah, I remember I met y'all one time at my wife's event at like when she was working for some State Department. So I'm like, State Department usually code for fucking CIA. So if his wife was some kind of government, attached to the government in some way, because she has to have some kind of like, she's got to be doing something to get the pull to orchestrate this fucking mission. So I'm assuming they are CIA or some kind of like black ops government agency. I don't see them being like just some kind of like rogue independent
like mercenary division.
Yeah, it's be, or do they go full sci-fi in the next one? It turns out like they're fucking Men in Black. Like it's like, all right, you got to go fight some aliens for us. Every good movie eventually ends up in space.
It doesn't necessarily have to be good.
Jason went to space. Fast and Furious went to space. Critters went to space. Hell, even the Leprechaun went to space. If a movie goes long enough, they eventually run out of ideas. You end up in space.
Jason Voorhees.
Yeah. I mean, the only person that hasn't gone to space is Freddy. Hell, even Pinhead went to space.
Freddy went to hell.
Which, depending on what video game you play, could be in space. We all know the portal to hell is on Mars. So what do you think this new mission is? He's gonna be like trying to rescue some like, we've got a fucking agent that's been captured and is like, in fucking China or some gulag in Russia. We need you to go break out, or is it another extraction, or is it, we're like, we're gonna need you to kill somebody? It's like,
no, I mean I kind of feel like they're gonna stick with the theme, but with the extraction comes, you got to minimize the threat, and I mean, whoever you're extracting, if you're in danger, then that person is obviously in danger too. So the less threats you have, the less danger involved.
This time, don't get caught. Yeah, try to get that silent assassin rating. It's like, if you get caught, we disavow any knowledge of your existence.
But then again, like, as an action film, it's got to go fast and loud. Like, there's very few, like, actual stealth-based...
It's boring to watch. It's
like...
It's
okay,
kind of fun to play, but to watching it, it's like stealth missions suck.
But it's not really even fun to play. Like...
Well, it's frustrating, man.
How long, like, you're on a stealth mission or play, how long until you're just like, all right, fuck the stealth, I'm just going in fast and loud and, dropping bodies.
It's like every time I played Hitman, I would try to get that silent assassin rating a couple times, then I'd get frustrated and just equip the M60, and it's like, I'm just fucking killing everybody.
It's just like playing, fucking James Bond on the 64, Yeah, you can equip the silence pistol. But who does that?
Today was a good day. I got to use my AK.
I am sticking with my theory, though. I think we get a Samuel L. Jackson appearance.
Yeah, now that you've said gnarly motherfucker, I'm like, who else would it be? Or they tied into Fast and the Furious, and it's Mr. Nobody from it's fucking what's his name? Shit, what is his name? Kurt Russell. Because he was pretty gnarly.
It's got to be Sam.
Yeah, they're bringing all these like Marvel cameos in, or is it fucking Thanos? Well, also if you noticed, all of Idris Elba's like associates were all black dudes, so it makes sense. Big Boss is also black dude. So like it's like Samuel Jack. It's like they're fucking like African special, intelligence or whatever. It's there's some government agency, but it's not necessarily a American government agency of some kind.
It's probably some kind of like a shadow, government. Like we are here to keep all the other governments in check.
Yeah, it's like we're here to make sure like everyone plays nice and we don't get nuclear wars and shit. So we need you to break in and steal some codes or whatever and stop this nuclear threat. We need you to go kill Putin before he like nukes Ukraine or some shit, We need you to fight the Winter Soldier. And they just completely tied into the fucking MCU.
Bucky? Is that you?
We've got you this talking raccoon. It's gonna gonna equip you for this this battle. But I gotta say, I like Hemsworth as like a serious action dude. Like, he does like the funny Thor action shit. But yeah, him is like fucking Operator Thor is.
Yeah, I mean, just gritty and everything else. Like I dig it. Yeah,
a lot more like hand-to-hand combat in this one. Like when he's like grappling dude on the fucking rooftop and shit, and it's like, oh yeah, these like I know these moves. These are all the like legit like martial arts.
Well,
like,
I mean, just fucking
very MMA fighting.
Shields through the fucking throats. Like that shit was badass.
Oh, and homeboy getting his face smashed with a weight. I like that. I do love a good improvised weapon. Because you're never, if you're skilled at like improvised weapons, you're never actually unarmed. If you have to go into a place with like no weapons, it's like, all right, I'm looking around. What can I grab if shit goes bad?
I got an ink pen. I got a vape.
I can kill 2 people with a pencil. I learned that from John Wick.
I could take the battery out of my vape, turn it into an improvised explosive.
Oh, so as we're kind of coming to the end, what are you thinking of this here cigar so far?
It's growing on me. Like I wasn't sure until I got past the first third. As I got into the second, I mean, this is a long cigar.
Yeah, we haven't smoked a lot of like Churchill size cigars.
But after the first third, I started getting some of that creaminess. I started getting, more of the nuances, and other blends coming together to overall, like, it's probably one of the best Gloria, cigars that I've smoked.
Yeah, it's not really strong. I mean, it is kind of a medium, but it's got a lot of flavor. And like I said, I don't mind a strong, a less strong cigar if it has a lot of flavor and not just one note. It's like nuance.
Yeah. It's like the spice is sort of, it's still there, but it's mellowed out, and that's allowed other flavors to come through. And
it's a good like sitting and chilling, relaxing cigar.
This is one that
I might have to try some more Glorias.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've tried like the Series R and stuff, and maybe too, like when you buy a sampler, most of the time you're getting small, sizes.
Yeah, you're not getting like the full size.
you know, and
And you don't know how well that shit's been stored when you're buying shit off
like
off
personally,
the internet.
anything less than like a 54 or 52 ring gauge, I a lot of times feel like I'm just not getting a lot of flavor. I guess that's the reason why I was on like that 660 kick, for so long.
If you're gonna I'm so used to smoking like big cigars now that if you get a 54, you need like that damn 7.5 inch to like feel like I'm getting the same amount of like smoke as I'm getting from my 660. Or a lot of time like this one, like I said, we're an hour in, and I smoke a little faster than you because I'm a Neanderthal and I don't let my cigars rest as much, but. Yeah, I'm still only like to the halfway point.
But this even with me,
this is a good hour and a half, 2-hour cigar.
Very well constructed.
Yeah, I haven't had to relight or.
Dude, the burn on this has been just absolutely phenomenal. Like I'm looking at mine, just super even burn. Your cigar, super even burn.
Yeah, I haven't had to touch it up or relight. Nothing. I mean, it's damn good construction and good even burn. They make some quality smokes, apparently. But that's all the action we've got for you this week.
Go ahead and tune out because it just gets boring from here.
We're going to talk about some science and news and some other nerdy shit. If you're watching on the YouTube, go download the audio show to get the full podcast. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I just put up a new Tactical Tuesday video last week, so if you like my random ass gun content when I get bored and have time to actually record things, go check out some of those videos. Those seem to get a whole lot more traction than the video versions of the podcast do. People got short attention spans. I'll put something up that's like 15 minutes long. It gets all kind of views. I put up this thing and it's like 8 people.
Yeah, but people don't want to watch a video of just two dudes talking. Come on now.
That's what I do all day. I just listen to fucking podcasts because I can work and don't have to pay attention to it.
Except for now that you're the boss.
Yeah, I don't have enough fuck off time anymore. I'm not bored anymore, but I'm also like I don't get to fuck off as much, which is disappointing. But that's all we got, and we'll be right back. And you've been watching the Cigar Nerds Podcast. Check us out on cigarnerdpodcast.com and on the ESO Network, esonetwork.com. And don't forget, smoke them if you got them. Like, comment, and subscribe.